Hey everybody, what's up? Jason from White Knuckle Productions. Welcome to episode 18 of the White Knuckle Podcast. So Prignitz, before we get this show going, what have you been out doing lately?
Out failing miserably at turkey hunting.
Alrighty then, what else has been bothering you?
I always am a little bit scared when I meet people.
Alrighty then, how's everything else going in life?
My dad and I love them to death, but we have the personalities that we're too similar. If we worked a job together, we'd kill each other within probably 15 minutes.
Todd, that's true about anybody that works with you. Hey everybody, thanks again for joining us for episode number 18 of the White Knuckle Podcast. It's hard to believe we've cranked out 18 of these. Today we have with us Jay Paul Molinere and of course Todd Prignitz. Jay Paul is from the History Channel TV show Swamp People. Many of you probably recognize his name from being on Swamp People. In addition to being on Swamp People, he's starting a new television show called Livin' Life. That television show is going to be aired on several digital networks, and he'll go ahead and tell all of us how we can find that show a little bit later in the show. So with that, sit back, relax, and enjoy our conversation with Mr. Jay Paul Molinere. Well, welcome back, everyone, to the White Knuckle Podcast, episode number 18. Today we have with us, of course, as always, Todd Prignitz, my co-host, and on the other line is Jay Paul Molinere. How are you guys today?
Good, man. Good. How y'all doing?
Good, dude. Good. We've been, I've been out failing miserably at turkey hunting. So I want to get into your turkey season because I've seen you've already been successful. But kind of like every show we do, Jay Paul, I kind of start off by just kind of introducing our guests based on how I met you. And to be honest with you, I think we met for the first time in person this past ATA show, but we've been kind of Facebook friends and following each other. I know I've been following your stuff for a long time. And part of the reason why I asked Jay Paul to come on the show was because when we were able to, my wife and I, Katie, were able to meet at the ATA show and have a chance to talk with Jay Paul. And you can't meet a nicer guy. And I always am a little bit scared when I meet people that you would consider celebrities or whatever, because sometimes you have a vision or you think of what they're going to be like, and sometimes they're not necessarily the nicest people in the world.
That's
so
right.
When we met Jay Paul, man, you were the most down-to-earth, friendly, nicest, polite person, especially to my wife, and I think she might have a little crush on you. But Jay Paul, welcome to our show. I'm a huge fan.
Thank you,
and dude, it's so cool to be able to watch now, you know, after I've gotten to know you a little bit. I've been watching Swamp People, of course, and if anybody has not been paying attention for the last however many years, Jay Paul is on Swamp People on the History Channel, man. And it's turned into a huge show. When you guys got started with that, did you have any idea what it would turn into?
No, man. Living I thought it was basically. I'm gonna tell you a little bit. We did many documentaries before. Different shows come up to me and my dad and ask many times to do documentaries, and we do these documentaries and that never come out of it. We would never see anything or hear back from these people, and we got actually a bad taste in our mouth for doing stuff like that. When history approached us, they actually told us the same thing, and we thought it was just another documentary. Long story short, we ended up doing it, and then after the first season was shot and all, and the second season was already was shot, and it started playing, and nobody expected to see Swamp People turn out like the way it did, you know. And I mean, for us, it's just fishing alligators. We just fish alligators. We live our life in 30 days. We do it since I've been fishing since I was 3 years old, you know. So for me, it's just like another day in the book.
I love it, man. And I mean, where I'm from Michigan, and like, dude, we're rednecks. I'm a redneck. I'm proud of it. There's all sorts of rednecks all over the country, and I think there's definitely something about that group of people, yourself included, that has touched the hearts of a lot of people, because, you know, you got to be able to relate, and that's the cool part, I think. I enjoy watching the show, I think, partially, too, because it's a clean show. There's so many darn shows now on TV where, I mean, it's just swear word after swear word after swear word.
Yeah.
And so I think that's something that my wife and I really appreciate about it as well. Is just that it seems to be a very, I don't know if it's a Christian-based show or not, but you all seem to hold your tongue so much better than so many of the other guys out there. And so we appreciate it. And I think that's been a part of the huge success you guys have had, because it's a good family-friendly show.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, you know, especially down south. We got a lot of respect for one another, you know, and to be offending anybody with any foul language. Don't get me wrong, we in the heat of the moment, we in work concept, you know. So sometimes, you know, stuff does slip out and gets a little heated, you know. But our biggest thing is, you know, being that where we're from, we have a lot of respect. But at the same time, you got to think, people don't realize, you know, you got so many kids that look up to you, so many different age groups is watching you. I mean, a lot of these kids, I mean, now I realize it, but at first I didn't realize these kids look up to you, like, I mean, as a role model. I mean, it looks like Batman on TV or this little superhero, and the kids see you, you know. So it took me a while to sink in that these kids don't think you real, you know. And when they see you, you know how it is. Whatever they see on TV or internet is supposed to be 100% true. So, you know, these kids see that and they pick up on it. So our biggest thing, thank God it's natural for us to have to bring a great example for me and my dad, you know, and it works great for TV. And because for me, I'm always worried about bringing a bad image for any kids watching. And anybody. I had adults thank me for life lessons, you know, and I didn't realize it while I'm doing the show, but it helps somebody, and that right there makes me smile for one. You know, that kind of stuff. That's why I think the best thing about TV is I get to help one person. That makes the world of difference. You know.
Jay Paul, do you ever find it hard to do your job with all those cameras around? You know, I can only imagine how many cameras or boats, et cetera, are around. Is it hard to really, truly, authentically do your job with all that stuff around you?
Well, I'm going to tell you the biggest thing I'm going to speak for my dad right here. My dad said he didn't have a problem with the cameras coming on the boat with him, as long as he could do his job. So that's where the line got drawn. And when we first started, Dad's like, look, I don't mind to come on, but it ain't going to stop me or mess up my job. This is a dangerous job. You can't have a cameraman making your life riskier and stuff. But don't get me wrong, it did slow it down, our process. But it didn't really change it 100%. And we did the only thing we had to do now. I mean, honestly, the biggest thing is it's like I become a babysitter because I got to babysit his cameraman. You know, I got to make sure because a lot of these guys that come on are from either California or New York, and they never. I mean, not to take it away from them, but they never even been used to these bugs. I mean, he's freaking out on bugs. And I'm like, what bugs? I don't even feel no bugs. And so, you know, basically how Mama speaks to my dad and all again. We are very responsible. So when I got that guy on my boat with me filming, I'm watching his back and my back at the same time. So it makes my job a little bit stronger. I mean, just like my dad, I'm watching his back, he watches my back, you know, because it is a dangerous job, you know. So that's the only thing I say with camera-wise that kind of changes the game a little bit is you slow down a little bit more for camera because, I mean, it's TV. We got to make TV regardless, you know. So we have to slow play it a little bit longer, give a little more action out of it to make sure that Alligator's performing like he needs to be, you know. Read the script. I mean, ain't much you can do with an alligator, you know. That's he's either gonna fight with you, he's gonna try to take your life, or he's be done, you know. So there ain't much you can do. But you know. So that's another. What's that?
Oh, I had that actually. One of my questions that I was going to ask you was directly that specifically was, have camera guys ever gotten injured? Because, I mean, you can imagine these guys are trying to get the shot, and some of these dudes are crazy because, you know, this is what they do for a living. So their job is to get the shot, to tell the story, and just our little, you know, doing our web show and our DVDs for all the years. We know how to tell stories, but these guys are, I mean, true professionals. They live and breathe this stuff. I gotta believe, man. I mean, you got a boat full of gators, all kinds of sharp hooks and stuff like that. Has there been some instances where it just something medically emergency happened with a camera guy getting injured?
Yeah, man. Believe it or not, every season we get some bad stuff go down, you know. And thank God nobody really got seriously hurt. But I mean, guys. I've seen guys fall out the boat. I had one cameraman that fell out the boat multiple times, and but they get cut up and get hurt up a little bit. But tell you what, these guys really put their life on the line, and that's why back to where I was talking about earlier. It's my responsibility to make sure I take the responsibility to make sure I protect this guy, you know, because he really don't know. And thank God nobody has become really, really injured on our boats. I can't speak for the other cast members because some of them got hurt pretty bad. But it's because I'm not going to take credit for it. I'm not going to let my dad take credit for it, but we do make sure we don't try not to put nobody in as much danger. But, I mean, don't get me wrong. Every time you turn that key on the airboat in the morning, one of us is getting cut. One of us is coming back with an injury. I'm telling you. It's just part of the day's job. Look, somebody's getting cut. Somebody's getting injured, a little cut, bruise, or something. You slip. It was crazy. People realize how wet and slippery it is in that boat.
Oh God!
You always fight with. Yeah, so you got your footing is unbelievable. You got to make sure you always slipping and falling in this boat. And you got hooks, alligator hooks. You got alligators with their backs. I mean, their backside of these alligators are hard, and it's like almost I don't want to say razors on their back, but their backs. On their backside is very sharp. They don't look too sharp, but they're very sharp. You fall on an alligator, it hurts. You know, it hurts. So there's a lot of different things can go on. People don't see. The only thing about it is a lot of we do have a lot of insects, but there's different things you get bit and stung by. I mean, thank God nobody got bit by no snake yet, but there's some close calls, man. There's some close calls, a lot of close calls, but there's a lot of dangers that are going on. And I said, thank the good Lord, nobody has lost their life.
Well, I think basically when anybody watches the show, you can definitely tell your dad and yourself take things really seriously, you know, and I mean, like, this is what you do, where some of the other teams are a little bit more hokey jokey, you know, a little more relaxed, I guess. But one of the things that impresses me is that you're able to work with your father, because my dad and I love him to death, but we have the personalities that we're too similar. If we worked a job together, we'd kill each other within probably 15 minutes.
Todd, that's true about anybody that works with you.
Yeah.
Probably.
Jay Paul, don't let him BS you, man. That's a fact.
It's hard. It's hard. I can't imagine doing it. Now, you guys still work on the same boat together, correct?
Right. Well, this season right here, there's the new thing you've seen. We brought Tommy, and Tommy was with Joe previous seasons, and Tommy needed work this year. And actually, me and my dad actually went on each our own boat. Worked the same tags in the same area. So this season we competed with each other and helped each other at the same time, because let's say we had 20 tags in this one area. I took 10, he took 10, and we fished the same canal. Okay. Same gator, same everything, just in each boat. And we decided it was like more of a competition. And my uncle got to be able to come on this year, what helped out pretty good too. So we ran 2 boats most of the year. And I fished with my dad. Don't get me wrong, I'm back up. I fished with my dad a couple of times. About a solid week this year in the gator season. But most of the season we ran 2 boats, and we doubled up so fast it wasn't even funny. I mean, this season right here is probably more of our, I'm gonna say, relaxed season. Probably one of our easiest seasons. But there was no price. You know, that's another subject. But that's what we did. We doubled up in our boats, and I jumped on. I brought on Tommy to my boat, and we took care of business quick this year.
That's all. Do you prefer fishing with your dad, or would you rather be on your own boat?
I prefer fishing with my dad, to be honest. I mean, it's I think the biggest thing I stepped back for him this year is the memories.
Yeah.
People don't realize. Cameron wouldn't be in our boat with us. We would barely speak when we fished. I've been fishing gators with my dad so much. Just his body language and the way he's gonna look towards me, I know exactly what I need to do. It's like we're working like a computer system. He knows that when he grabs the line, I grab the gun. He pops up, I pop it, do the thing. I put it out. We throw it out, get in the boat. He knows I'm grabbing the tagging it. He's getting ready for the next line, or he's rebaiting that line. I mean, it's like a system. You know, we got a system down pat. Yep. And for TV, we talk more. Well, that's something we have to learn. That's the inside fact. We have to learn how to communicate. Because for our first season, we kept getting fussed. The camera guy's like, "Hey, RJ, we need y'all to explain more. RJ Paul, we need you to talk and explain what you're doing." I'm like, thinking for us, it's just normal not to speak. You know, we barely, a little bit of speaking we would do wasn't much. The audience didn't know what we were doing, you know? So that's one thing I had to learn. Me and my dad both. And we still don't do it. And when you hear sometimes, if you watch the show, when you hear when me and my dad talking about sticking and moving, all right, Jay, he said, stick and move now. That means be quiet and do your job, and that's it, because we got to go. You know, we running late on some time, or we got to do something. Something's going on, and he'll say, all right, Jay, stick and move. Taking moves means getting that seat and driving that airboat. Let's go. So yeah, man, it's really, I really love fishing with my dad. And see my uncle that goes on my fishing with my dad this year, I can work with him the same way. I grew up with my dad and my uncle as my best friends, so I know how to work with these guys like to the T without even speaking. And the audience don't see it. The audience see it, but they don't understand where it comes from. When I call my dad, hey bro, it's not because I'm being disrespectful to my dad. He is my dad, you know. It's just the way we grew up. He uses that word to me. He uses it to my uncle. That's just our slang, you know. And so it's a little different, man. It's a little different lifestyle.
I will say this much. My wife's probably going to smack you when we do see it because I'm saying "brah" every other word these days, man. And I enjoy it because I think it's just hilarious, man. It reminds me of you guys, and it makes me feel like a part of the crew, even if I'm not a swamp.
There you go.
I can be out there saying "brah."
So, in addition to swamp people, Jay Paul, you've got something else going on. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, audience always wants to know. All the fans and always want to know what else RJ and Jay Paul and family does besides alligator hunt. See, let me tell you, alligator season is only 30 days, the month of September, basically.
Okay.
We fish gators for the month of September, so that's a little bit of income right there. Don't get me wrong, you can make good income, but if you're somebody like me, my dad and my family, we don't stop there. We always grinding. We always doing something else. And a little background, we own a construction company. I own a lot of excavators, bulldozers, dump trucks. I own all of that. We own a couple of different little things, but we're still commercial fishermen. We fish. Shrimp season starts up. Well, actually, the new shrimp season is about to start up in May. We shrimp, we crab, we do a little bit of everything. And besides that, we some avid hunters, man. We travel around the states. We hunt a lot. So I decided, you know, to put my own show together where I had control of what gets shown on TV. Because with Swamp People, when we back up on Swamp People, you always see maybe a quarter, not even a quarter, an eighth of what gets filmed the whole season. I mean, they can make a show just with my dad and I and have probably 20 episodes if they play it raw. That's how much footage we film. We film from when we get up in the morning at 4 a.m. to probably 11, 12 o'clock at night. And we get back at the same thing again. And 7 days a week, there's no breaks. So you know much footage that gets shown compared to that is not much, nothing at all you can say. So we decided, you know, the fans want to see more. So we decided to go out and got a new show we're doing digital. It's called Living Life. And basically it's what we always say, man, we just out living life, you know. We on the road, hunt together, making memories, and that's where it stems from. I think, you know, that's a good opportunity, give the fans what they want to see. We'll get out on the road and film some of our hunts and our get-togethers, and a lot of our family eats. And because, I mean, you know us, South Louisiana, that's our biggest thing. We want to eat. We eat every Sunday. We get together, big fan. We balling something. We balling seafood. We grilling something. We doing it all, you know. So every day there's a party somewhere.
Well, I think it's probably fun too, because, man, I know how it is. Like my whole world is revolved around whitetails, and that's why I honestly, my idea of a vacation is going fishing. You know, that's what I would like to do more. So spend more time in the water, which I dig obviously what you guys are doing with all the fishing and everything. But that's a cool part about that whole crew and yourself included is, you know, the food end of it is pretty much involved with everything you guys are doing. It's not just a trophy. Correct. It's not just for money. It's a lifestyle, man. And we live whitetails the same way. We eat them. We kill these turkeys. We eat those. And it's as important. I'm not going to lie. We like the antlers and all that, just like anybody. But
yeah. Oh yeah, that's a trophy.
Dude, I feel connected to my food in a way that I wish more people would have that. I think if they did, our planet would be a heck of a lot more enjoyable place to live. But what is your favorite animal to pursue outside of gators, or is it gators?
Whitetail, man. Whitetails. I'm sick for it. I'm sick for a whitetail hunt, man. Look, come down to the fall season. I can't get out. I mean, every year I plan on going out west and doing this type of hunt, different little hunts. I cannot get away from the whitetail. Come down November time, I'm stuck in the tree in Illinois or stuck in the tree in Missouri, somewhere, Kansas. I'm stuck. I can't help myself.
You guys whitetail hunting in Louisiana much?
Not much, man. Not much. I like in Louisiana. I love to whitetail hunt and bring the kids out.
Okay.
That's my when I get back home. When I get back home, it's more. I don't hunt for myself because like you say, back to the trophy hunting or the rack and all, like where your antlers and stuff like that. Louisiana deer, where I'm at, don't get big at all. Don't get me wrong, I still get pumped up if I want to go shoot a doe or something like that, but our bucks don't get big.
Yep.
Our bucks are we have swamp deer, basically. And so for me to pursue for a trophy or something like that, I got meat. I ain't worried about the meat because I know I'm going to get meat up north. You know, that's what let me back up a little bit. Every year, get ready for deer season, I get a phone call, I get a text message, hey, Jay Paul, your first deer, what you got? I said, I got a doe. Good, man. I said, what you need? Yeah, I like a hind quarter. All right, no problem. Our first 2 or 3 deer, I don't even get meat off of. When I come back home, by the time I get back home, I got people waiting on me, calling me, hey, you got some extra deer? You got this? My deer gets distributed every year, and I don't mind because back in, like you said, South Louisiana, our deer, our food is our thing. You know, that's our biggest thing. And since a little boy, I always was taught that, and I always was raised by my dad, you take care of your elders. Take care of the less fortunate. And ever since I was a little boy, no matter if I was duck hunting, fishing, deer hunting, a lot of my meat, whatever I harvested, gets distributed all over to the family. So I feel like I provided more than anything, you know. So my meat, I'll save me 1 or 2 deer during the year, and hopefully if I'm blessed enough, you know, to get enough, and I save myself last, you know, and I distribute all my meat out. I mean, like you made a good point earlier, you know, our food in South Louisiana, that's number one, and I got a lot of people depend on me to provide for them.
So, yeah, and dude, what a great feeling to give away venison. I do the same thing between the bucks we shoot. I mean, some of these deer we kill, we get 100 pounds of venison back from our processor.
Yeah.
And then we're killing does and everything else. So I supply my family with meat. My parents in Michigan eat it. All my friends back home eat it. And boy, we're fortunate because we've got some of the best venison in the world here in Iowa. I mean, it's like basically cattle. And I was actually talking to my father-in-law about this. We were out, my wife and I went to a music festival in Telluride, Colorado last year. And we were in a fancy restaurant eating food, and they had a grass-fed steak. I'm like, what the heck? I've never had a grass-fed steak. I swear to you, our venison was better than this grass-fed beef. Yeah. I was like, I still enjoy it. I'll eat anything, man. I love any types of food. The crazier, the better. But dude, I couldn't believe people actually prefer to eat, you know, this grass-fed beef. I'm like, man, you need to start feeding these things some grain.
Yeah. So, yeah. No, but I'm with you. Believe it or not, you know what I'm saying? That venison back home, that's one thing we push hard for, and that's not just the way I was raised. You know, that's like you said, the antlers and all. That's a bonus for us. That's a bonus. Don't get me wrong. Everybody loves the big bucks. You know, so like the big long bears I'm going to chase right now in Kentucky. Like you said, it's good to let long bear, but tell you what, it won't be nice when I get home and I got all the turkey breasts laid out. Because guess what? I'm gonna have people knocking on my door. Hey, you gotta give me some of that. When the food's done.
Dude, I love it, man. Well, so, I'm happy. Yeah. I'm glad that you guys are the same way we are. And that's where I could tell instantly just when we started talking, like, dude, I think actually like the hard part I can imagine for your guys' job is you got to get criticism. I mean, I can only imagine with the reach that you guys have through the History Channel, you know, how many tens of millions of people watch the show. We get hammered for stuff you would never even think about. And just recently, Jason, why don't you tell a little story about what happened with you?
It's really not that big of a deal. And I've got thick skin. I've said it 100 times. I've gotten more rejection in life than I'll ever get acceptance, and that's just fine. I just got a message from one of our loyal viewers and listeners that well, essentially, he told me I suck at this job, which is fine, and I may, and I'm not. I'm not adverse to criticism, but it just goes with the territory. And anytime you're doing a job like you're doing, or Todd does, and I do to a much smaller extent, you're going to be in somebody's crosshairs, and that's fine. And this guy was really cool about it. I asked him what he thought I could change, and you know what? There's value there. He had some good points, and I'll absolutely take them and try and improve upon them. That's all you can do. There's no point in me getting freaked out about it. But there's going to be people like that everywhere. You said that you hunt all over. You get up in Illinois or maybe Missouri. Are you going to outfitted hunts, or this is just land that you've leased, or how does that all work out for you?
Well, believe it or not, I've been hunting this one spot in Illinois probably going on 15 or 16 years. It's actually the Shawnee National Forest. We actually we know a farmer there. I basically have a family. You call them family. I've been knowing them for so long, that we got a family in the area, and his ground we used to hunt, and then an outfitter came in and leased his ground out. So we just actually stay at his place and we hunt the forest in Illinois. National Forest is public ground. And then we have a couple of little spots like guys we know. There's some private ground. No really outfitters in Illinois I'm hunting with. And I was harvesting a nice one this year. On public it was on right on that border of the Shawnee Forest, and it was good, man. And so a lot of these places, but I do have some outfitters I go with. I do have some good buddies that has a bunch of outfitting business. But Kansas, I have 1,100 acres that I actually haven't hunted in almost 3 years. I've been just basically for the right one, So Kansas, I just go all over, man.
What's the address for that in Kansas?
Yeah, the city is middle of nowhere. Yeah.
So, man, dude, we have a bunch of buddies and going to the trade shows, and we have trade show friends and other professionals and stuff that have shows. But man, Kansas, I've heard, is just something else.
Oh, dude, it is. They'll spoil you, especially for turkey hunt. If you're Kansas, Nebraska will spoil you for turkey hunt. I mean, if you haven't, that's all the place I killed so far this year with my buddy Matt. He has an outfitted business, Misty Morning Outfitters, and he actually I hunt with him every year. And I mean, he's just a good friend of mine. Basically, we get in camp and we do our thing. This year it's pretty funny. That's one of our episodes we're doing this year. We cut out. I'm gonna give you a little background on it. I got in, drove in, and Matt tells me, he says, hey, Jay, look, I don't have no stands or nothing. I got a new little spot. You may want to check it out. I said, Matt, let me go check this spot out. And I said, look, he said, I have no stands or nothing. I said, don't worry, man, I got stands. I'm going to hang my own stand. I'm going to do my own thing, So we drove in there. We hung our stand, got set up. And he was like, look, he said, if you want, it was hot. It was 70-something degrees. And he said, look, if you want to wait, Jay, he said, I know you drove in all night. I didn't sleep yet. I might have had an hour of sleeping, though. So he's like, look, if you want to just hunt in the morning, be a little cooler. And he said, that way you can do. I said, no, man. I said, I'm here. I'm for this hunt. An hour and a half into the stand, I killed a big 10.
Really?
I started hanging in the stand, making all kind of noise, did everything, all we had to do. I mean, we made noise, cut limbs, cut shoot lanes, made it all right. Sat maybe an hour and a half. And next thing you know, I hit the horns a few times, and that tight 15 minutes later, the Big Ten comes out. He was a little broken up, just a warrior. Hey, look, I didn't waste no time. I told my cameraman, he's like, you gonna kill him? I said, yeah, get on him. Get on him. Smoked him, man. Smoked him. So I was in Kansas for an hour and a half, man. Hour and a half in the stand, we killed that fast there. In a spot that we didn't even know it was there,
That's how it usually happens when you get in that new area where there's a big buck. It's not brain surgery, man. If you can get in that spot, it's like you can kill them the first time, just like what you were talking about. And that's a big part of my style of hunting and everything. And what we've talked about in our podcast quite a few times is just, man, you're not going to get handed anything. You got to make it happen out there. And sometimes it just means doing stuff other guys aren't willing to do. And even we were talking about outfitters with one of our last guests, and when I was growing up and we got into whitetail hunting, we weren't wealthy people. I was a blue collar kid working, traveling out of state to hunt and everything. So we would help guides. We would help as guides with outfitters just to get a piece of property to hunt in exchange for our time. We hung tree stands for them. I mean, you got to do what you got to do to get on the right piece of ground. And,
That's right.
And outfitters are such a huge part of this industry that we don't want to ever give anybody the idea that we are against outfitted hunts or anything like that. Absolutely not. Like, dude, we're all brothers and we're all working together. And if you can work a really good relationship with an outfitter over a period of time, before you know it, you're going to be hunting your own piece of ground, doing your own scouting, because you'll build that relationship with these guys, and then they can trust you to put you in some of their best spots.
Exactly, and that's what I like about my buddy Matt, Misty Morning Outfitters. He's one of the guys. He's an outfitter, but he's a buddy. You know what I'm saying? Look, Jay, he said, if this is a guy, if you want to, he gives you so many options, and it's good to work with. He runs a business. Don't get me wrong, he runs a business, but at the same time, we work hand in hand with each other. You know, and I feel like I'm going home with family when I go out to his place. He has majority of work done, but at the same time, we'll get out there and we can make stuff happen. And that's the best part about it. I love working with guys that I can work as on a friend to friend, not of a business. It's like strictly business. Get in there, that's it. You know, I want to build a relationship with these guys. I want to make sure we help each other out, and that's the best thing. That's friends, you know. That's what I like to call it.
Absolutely. Well, not to mention, dude, some of the best times I've ever had have been at camp, with our outfit camp.
Dude, yeah.
Holy cow, you meet some characters. I'll tell you, I've always been friends with a guy named Ben Plattner, who runs Timberland Outfitters in Illinois, and that was one of the guys that I kind of met for the first time, and we started helping him. But I'd always go over to his camp at night, you know, after the hunt or whatever, and see what they had shot that day, and it's kind of cool too, because you're sharing, you know, a period of time with a bunch of guys, but everybody's out hunting, so you can learn a lot from just knowing what everybody else is seeing. And heck, one of my best friends here in Iowa, Tyler Tissue, we're going to be doing a show with him because he's a whitetail madman, but he actually was a guide. He was a guide for many years, and that's how he learned a lot about whitetails, was because not only could he be out hunting in a tree stand, but he could have 10 guys out hunting in all of his tree stands, you know? So you can learn so much from being around people. And that's one thing I think that's important with all of us. The best hunters in the world always are the guys who are listening, talking, and networking with other hunters, and always trying to fill their brain with useful information that can help them on their next hunt.
You got to be.
But like I said, I was taught at a young age, you never know enough. The day you stop learning is the day you die. You know, even though you know I know something, just sit and listen. You might find one word that you never knew that could change the whole outlook on something. You know, so that goes back to my fighting wise. I know I go to different gyms, and I have some trainers or some coaches that would be telling me stuff that I'm like, I knew was wrong, but I wouldn't say nothing. You know, because that's how I was taught. I wouldn't say nothing. I'll just listen to them, let them speak, let them do their thing. But I knew down deep inside wasn't nothing even to help me. But some gyms I'll get into, I'm like, all right, here goes another guy thinks he knows it all. Then by the time I finished the gym, I learned something. One thing that made me better, you know. And that's what kind of happens in deer camp. You never know. You can pick up so much by just sitting, listening, and sharing stories. And I think that's one of the best parts about hunting camp, man. You can learn so much from different guys. Everybody got a little different way to hunt, and it helps out. You never know when you need it, you know. So it's good.
As soon as you think you know something about whitetails, they will humble you very quickly.
And that's why we love it.
Oh, absolutely, man.
I used to employ a salesman that worked for me. He was in his mid-60s. I think he just worked for sport, just for the fun of it. And his probably the most meaningful thing that he ever said to me that has never left my brain was, he would say, Jason, remember this. It's always better to receive than to transmit. And I thought about it for a second, and I'm like, okay, Larry, I get it. And it's basically what you just said. There's a lot to be learned by keeping your mouth shut in some situations. Right. I mean, there's sometimes where you have to open your mouth, but
yes, you do.
but I have to learn a little bit better, I think, in the future.
Todd, I wasn't going to go there at all today.
I can't help it, bro.
Jay Paul, so I want to, if we can, just briefly go back to this whole public hunting deal in Illinois. David and I, my cameraman, filming partner, whatever you want to call him, we're going to do some public land hunting. And not that public land hunting in Wisconsin is anything like public land hunting in the Shawnee National Forest.
Right.
But when you've been there 100 times or 1,000,000 times or whatever the case may be,
right.
What is it that you're looking for when you walk? We all have different things. Todd has different things that he's looking for. I have different things that I'm looking for. What is it that you're looking for when you're walking into maybe a new piece of property that makes you want to set up there?
Well, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna give you a little example of the Shawnee Forest. I'm gonna back up a few years. We had no pressure. We had no one was coming to our area or on the part of the Shawnee Forest. We was deep. We was far back in there. Nobody was traveling. You would never see anybody set up a stand or anything. Maybe once every couple of years you would see one little guy come through or something. So I was looking to be secluded. That's where I was looking for. Then the last 2 years, we've been getting a lot of pressure. Shotgun season comes in. I mean, there's like the orange army is everywhere. So the deer were getting pushed deeper into the forest where nobody was traveling. So my thing was I started traveling to places where it was more secluded, thick areas, thick, you know what I'm saying, good bedding, trying to hunt. Have to hunt if there's a public ground. You want to be where nobody wants to go, basically, where nobody wants to walk in 45 minutes deep into these bottoms and got to the point where I was seeing like herds of deer. I'm talking about like cattle running through. But like they say, like our saying goes, if it was easy, everybody would do it. Where you think you don't want to go to, that's where you got to go. You know, you got to think like that deer. Just like we fishing alligators, we got to think like an alligator to catch an alligator. You got to think like that deer. If you know somebody's hunting you, when you seem like they already know when deer season starts, they disappear. But comes down to public ground, I think the biggest thing is get away from the scent. I mean, because you know how many guys are traveling these woods. I mean, a lot of these, from rookies to guys that think they're professionals. I mean, there's no such thing as professional hunter in my book. We all hunters, but they got a lot of guys that got more knowledge than others, you know. Some of these guys get in the woods and they trample up the whole forest. You got to find where they did. That's my biggest thing. I want to find where them deer feel safe and get after it and sneak in, sneak out. That's my biggest thing I do for it. And I'm telling you what, my success rate's been pretty good, man. It didn't do me wrong yet.
You hit the nail on the head when you said you got to go where everybody else doesn't go. And I'll be honest, man, in some cases, especially you get down in huge sections of land, sometimes a few hunters and some pressure is the best recipe for success, because all they do is they concentrate the activity. They concentrate where all those deer are going to be. The hard part's finding that spot, but once you do, it's like taking candy from a baby. They've done all the work for you.
Correct.
They've got these deer pushed into the small area, and you just have to figure out a way to access is half of it. If you can't get in without blowing the whole neighborhood out. But yeah, you gotta take whatever you're given with the hand that you're dealt and figure out what cards to play when. But you can use all of that to your benefit. And I have to do the same thing. You know, people think because I live and hunt in Iowa that, you know, I have 10,000 acres to hunt or something. And it's, dude, I got bow hunters on every property line. I can sit and I can go and point out trail cameras and tree stands. But I've just adapted around that and learned how to use that against them. And those bucks, trust me, those deer, they know where these hunters have been coming and going. And it's comical because these guys have never changed their patterns. They're still walking the same trails in, parking in the same spots, walking the same trails out, and the bucks just work around them. I mean, you got to figure. If you're a whitetail buck, just like us, you only have the rut to hunt. Well, they only have the rut to breed, and they're driven to breed. They're going to go out and breed, and they're going to find does, whether you're out in the woods or not. And so, yeah, you just gotta play the best hand you can, and sometimes it means moving on when the deer aren't there, and that's sometimes going to be tough, especially if you hunted an area over and over for years. Man, that's hard. You got your anchor out, and you're not going anywhere because of that human comfort thing. So, got to know when to hold them, when to fold them.
Yeah, and believe it or not, one of the biggest things my dad taught me at a young age is he says, Jake, see, I'm going to tell you, back home in Louisiana, down south Louisiana, look, we don't worry about scent. Scent's not a factor. We hunt our whitetail totally different than in Midwest. I started hunting Midwest for probably about 15 years. Scent was the biggest thing I had to change. So my dad explained it to me. He said, Jake, he said, when you walk into the house, he said, when you walk in your house, you could tell a new smell in your house, right? And it walks in your house, you got that new smell. Somebody, a different smell in your home. He said, what you think that buck does when he walks into the woods? He walks into his bedroom. You walk up in his bedroom and he got a new smell. What's going to happen? He knows something's wrong. He's getting out of there. You know, the same thing you walking in your house. You know something's wrong or something's misplaced. You know something. That buck lives there. He knows when something's different. So don't try to say food is the old buck. He knows his old buck knows. He said, so when you go into this man's bedroom, he said, you better be sin free. Don't touch nothing. Don't change anything. He said, don't do anything. He said, that's believe it or not, look, my dad made a good point. He really did make a good point right there. I mean, if you think about it, this deer lives here. He knows when something's different. He smells. If you smell in this area, it's game over. You know, we all, as whitetail hunters, we know that sin factor is the only thing that can kill him is that lady. If something's different.
Ain't that the truth?
and we know that too. so I mean, that's another big factor I was taught at a younger age. You know, is to hunt these mature bucks. That's the difference. A mature buck, you know how hard these deer will get, how smart they'll get. And once my dad explained this concept to me, I never really thought it logical like it. But if you notice, people notice, they'll hunt on this buck, and it's like, oh man, he changed up. Well, yeah, he changed up. He knows you hunt him. You don't think he's hunting you. He knows you hunt him. He feels your pressure. He's gonna move it. He might move 100 yards. He might move him on the county. You just don't know. So you got to be on point.
Do you think that your strong fishing background has somehow influenced your whitetail hunting or your hunting overall?
I'll say yes. Mother Nature wise, she's very, very similar in anything. You can use parts of it, everything.
Right. It's continuous throughout, correct? It's continuous.
There's some factors are stronger than others, you know. Like alligators, I'm gonna use smell for a bait. You know, I put some in his home territory. I'm gonna put some rotten bait out. He's gonna eat. So that's the biggest thing, you know. Wind factors. When I go out freshwater and saltwater fishing, I'm gonna check my winds first before whatever I go fish. I'll say if I got an east wind blowing, so I ain't going freshwater fishing with an east wind. For me, I was taught east winds are no good for freshwater. You're gonna catch, but it's be slow bites. East wind, you want to go to the saltwater. Go fish saltwater. Go catch your big red drums, or you go speckled trout. Go catch some saltwater fish. Now west wind blowing, south wind, southwest. Go hit freshwater. Go bass fishing. You know, go do stuff like that. You know, that's like deer hunting. Watch your winds. We always playing the wind game. All I do anyway. A lot of people do. You know, play the wind games. Where are we going to set up this morning? You know what I'm saying?
It's the best part about turkey season is not having to worry about wind.
Yeah,
I know. If they could smell, none of us would ever kill one.
Oh, you would never kill.
No.
You'd never get.
Turkey hunting so bad. I'm such a bad turkey hunter, but that's a whole nother topic. I want to get back to the wind thing because I want to press a point. Just like what we were talking about, how you can use other hunters and their pressure against deer. As soon as you wrap your brain around what a whitetail's nose does for them, especially these mature bucks, I do not hunt a tree stand that I wouldn't walk with the wind in my nose. If I was a buck, I'd try to put myself in his shoes. Where would he be bedding? Where is he going to want to go? And how can I hunt him where he thinks he's got the wind in his favor, which is going to mean he's going to move during daylight. They're not going to move if they don't have the wind and pressure area, period.
Correct.
So you got to set everything up for that. And if you don't have a stand, that's where the old lone wolf comes in. And we do our running and gunning and our wicked saws, and we go hang a stand and hunt and kill right in one motion. But that's the big thing is you can use that against a man. And I know what stands are going to be good under what particular wind and what stands aren't. And I don't rely on luck. I'm not going to go sit in a pinch point or a field edge or a back corner or something, hoping that something happens. I have to see it happening. I have to see that buck coming out of his bed with the wind in his nose, or at least quartering to the wind, or know where he's going to want to go check for does. But everything is based on what that buck's nose is going to tell him or what he's going to want. And I don't worry about any of the other deer. I don't worry about seeing 50 bucks a day during the rut. I don't worry about seeing 100 does a day. All I care about is where can I catch that buck that I'm hunting, and hopefully just find a small flaw in his master plan. And it's very rare. It's tough to do. But if you just think of it from that perspective and stop worrying about trying to see the most deer, you know, if your goal is to kill a mature deer, you've got to hunt a mature deer, and you got to hunt different.
Yeah, and believe it or not, that's one of the stories that we talk about in camp, last turkey camp. Some guys get upset in camp, and they're like, oh man, this guy seen 12, 15 deer. I ain't seeing nothing. Well, my buddy says, well, what you trying to kill? You trying to kill 15 deer, or you trying to kill one mature buck?
Yep. That's it. That's
right.
it.
And so it don't matter if you see 15 deer.
Yep.
You're not going to kill 15 deer. You're killing one deer. You have to one buck, one big mature buck. So hang tight. Play your card right. Man, that's another thing. You got back to another good subject. As a human, your mind says, like, man, I know this spot's good. I know he's going to produce a good buck. But the factors are saying wrong spot. Don't go to it. In our head, we like, man, we want to go to the spot because that buck's going to pass there. But today won't. You know, that wind's wrong. But we still want to tell ourselves, man, one more time, one more try. You know, that's
I'm going to catch him on the pattern. Right? You know?
Yeah. But it's not, today's not the date. And we will actually ruin a spot. I'm guilty of it. I did it already. You know, I did it myself. I'm like, hey, it ain't gonna be a problem. And there was a lesson learned. You know, I blew a spot walking in. I blew the deer out. The deer was went but 40 yards from the deer stand. Me and him walked to the deer stand at the same time. Walked to the tree stand. He's walking to the same time, but my wind was blowing straight to him. Boom, blew it. You know, and I never killed the deer. Never seen him again. I blew it. I guarantee you ran him out of the state.
No, dude, that's a lot of people's misconceptions in the editing process of putting our stories together. Just like what you were talking about, you film so much and you experience so much, dude. I blow it every year in some way, shape, or form. And each year at the end of the season, I think to myself, "Holy cow, I can't believe how much I learned this year." But dude, the same thing happens to me. You get a big buck on your brain, you know where he's living, and sometimes you push your luck and you end up hunting too much. Did the exact same thing. We're all human, but and that's the challenge of hunting one individual buck. Are you guys typically on the properties you're hunting? Are you after a hit list, so to speak, or are you after one individual animal typically?
Some places are a little different because see what's crazy with us, we only got a week or two to hunt in certain areas, you know, so we really get out there on kind of open-minded. The biggest thing I really go for is I'm trying to shoot a mature deer. Part of QDMA, I always was taught, you know what I'm saying, going for the mature bucks. So if he's a mature deer, I don't really look at headset really. If he's a mature deer, I'm taking him. But some grounds, we have certain grounds like Kentucky, the ground we're going right here. The buddies I hunt with up here, we have hit list deer. We have hit list deer that we own after them. These couple of deer, 5.5-year-old bucks, nice mature bucks. But we also call basically our stragglers come in. If during the rut, a different buck, we don't even know what comes on the ground, judge them on the hoof.
Yep.
Judge him on the hoof, and if it's a good deer, take him. You know, that's what you want. But basically, we always have something in mind. But like in Illinois, since we hunt the public ground, I run no trail cams, no nothing. I just kind of know been hunting so long. I kind of know my areas where the deer are passing. I kind of know where these deer are traveling, their corridors, traveling back and forth. So I'll actually take a couple of days, and as I'm hunting, I'm scouting. I'm trying to see what buck. Then I'll find me a buck that I've seen that know he's in the area. I'll probably lock down on that one buck and just focus on that one buck, unless something else shows itself, you know. But I hunt different areas, different styles. It's just, you got to adjust the environment, you know.
You know, one thing that I wanted to point out as we talk about the rut all the time, people get lulled to sleep thinking that just because the rut's on and it's breeding season and all that, a buck's suddenly going to get stupid. They're going to get stupid if they're going to be getting some action in a matter of minutes. But once that action's over, they're on to the next thing. But they don't just get stupid and stop doing what they've learned to do to survive because they haven't made it to where they're at by being stupid.
That's right.
Is that a fair statement from all the bucks that you guys have killed that have been mature? I could
say from alligator standpoint, an alligator doesn't get big. You might probably heard this a few times on the show. An alligator does not get big for being stupid. He's an alligator. He takes him. Let me give you an example. A 10-footer. That's 25 plus years old.
Wow.
So you know how smart he got to get. And look, breeding season starts. Breeding season is coming down. We're in April, May. Around April and May, breeding season starts, and these big bulls are out like crazy. They get very aggressive, but they still don't lose their mind, you know. And the same thing with a buck. Don't get me wrong. You'll see them more, you'll see that they'll show themselves more, but they still got their mindset. Don't get me wrong, they will get crazy. I mean, they'll come to your boat and everything. I mean, it gets crazy. Big 12, 13 footers trying to come get in your boat with you because you in his spot, you in his bedroom, trying to take his female. so it's a little different. It's a little different, but same thing with the deer. I know exactly where you're coming from. Even though the rut's on, they know they got that one time to breed. They got to get out there and breed. They got a little certain window to breed. They still don't lose their mind. They know their senses. The older they get, the even smarter they get. I mean, that's 110% fact.
They're so patient, man. That's and I think for humans, that's especially humans like myself who are kind of nonstop a little bit. It's so hard to imagine spending your entire life on your belly and just laying there. And that's what these deer do. And the big ones, man, they just don't get up and chase. I actually hate the rut. The first week of November, I hate hunting worse than any because you see a bunch of young deer. They ruin it for the big ones because the big ones don't want to be in an area with a ton of deer run around. And the big ones, they can lay in their little core area and they'll just wait till dark. Yep. That's when they go do their search and their checking. And then, before light, they're already back in that core area. And that's how they made it to that age. It's just forced evolution is what I like to call it. It's just, you ain't going to kill a buck that has been hunted and survived that long. Now, there are exceptions somewhat. Guys like the Drury brothers and Kiskis and Lee Lukoski and some of my friends who own some big farms who have been controlling and managing these farms for a long period of time. The deer act like deer still, so to speak, where they haven't been pressured and they haven't been educated. And that's a lot of it is you're paying the price from the idiots that hunted that spot before you, so to speak. Excuse my French if you're one of those idiots. That's right. I can be that idiot sometimes. But, if the last guy who hunted that piece of property or near that piece of property was rattling every 10 minutes and using his ground call every 10 minutes, you're not going to be effective. You're not going to be able to call in that area. It ain't going to work. He's already educated those animals. So that's where if you can eliminate the human factor, it puts a lot more control in your hands. But, dude, none of us are that lucky. We all have to deal with it just like anybody else. Excuse me. And I think that's why people have kind of dug our show for all these years and like these podcasts, because it's a little bit more relatable than, dude, let's face it, I wish I owned 1,000 acres and could control it all and had 14 Boone and Crockett's that I could pick from each year to go after. But that's not reality, man. That's not real hunting. And, I think that's what I enjoy about it is being able to hunt and hopefully kill these mature deer that no one else is able to kill in my area. And that's where my real, I don't know. That's like one of my biggest accomplishments, for myself is outside of headgear, to kill these 6-7 year old deer that have been hunted in these areas. It's mind blowing, and you still can't believe it when it happens each time. And that's what makes it so special, man. That's what we love about it.
Yeah, that's exactly. That's what my cameraman actually was. My uncle actually filmed me in Kansas this year, and he's like, "You gonna shoot that deer?" I'm like, "Get on him." He was 5.5 plus. You know what I'm saying? It was a monarch deer. That's to kill a deer with age. To me, that's a trophy. I didn't even. He's like after I shot the deer ran off, and we heard him crash maybe 50 yards, and he's like, "Hey, he's broken up, huh?" I'm like, "Yeah, his broadside is broken." He said, "No, I think his right beam's broken too." I said, "Dude, I didn't even see that. I didn't even look at the broadside, his beams. I knew he was a mature deer. I knew he had good age. He got a saggy chest. I mean, he had all the signs of a mature buck, 5.5 or better." And my guy, Matt, the one that I was hunting with, he claims to be 6 plus. And I said, "I'm gonna give him 5.5. He's definitely mature." But he said, "This deer right here, he knows this deer." He said, Kansas deer is kind of hard to judge. I told my uncle, actually, it was filming. I said, "Why is the size of the body when we get to this deer?" Because we was up in a tree. He never hunted Kansas with me before. When he got to the body side, we got to this deer, he tripped. He tripped out on the body side. Holy crap. He said, "This is like a little cow." I said, "I'm telling you, that's how big." He said, "Man, this is like a heifer. We can how we unload this thing?" And I'm like, "Dude," I said, see why I love Kansas, Illinois, you know what I'm saying? Especially a mature deer. I mean, he really never witnessed this type of style, He don't even he kills some nice deer in time, but a mature deer really, I don't know, it just gets it, like you said earlier, it really makes it worth its while. About to harvest a deer that's been seen it all, people called at him, did everything already.
The body like a refrigerator. That's what I call them.
Yeah. Thanks,
dude. That look, man. I don't know. I have the same thing, dude. It's like the rack kind of disappears once you walk up on these animals. You see their true body size, and it's just. I find it fascinating that animal can stay. I mean, dude, they're huge, right? Some of them have bigger racks and not, but I mean, they're like 320 pound animals. These big mature deer around here in Kansas, same thing. It's amazing to me that those animals can live in the habitat that we are often hunting them in, which is usually up and down, super thick, nasty stuff that you just can't imagine even walking through. And that's where they live, man. Their whole lives they live in that. And I find it fascinating right now that, the buck I was hunting this past season, he's a 6-year-old this past year, giant buck. He's shed. He's out there laying in a bedding area right now. Where is he? What's he thinking? Is he eating? Is he getting bothered by flies right now? I mean, I can't imagine the insects alone because, you walk out of your house in the summer here in Iowa and it's like 90 degrees, humidity is 300%. And it's just, I can't imagine living out in that year round. I have so much respect for these animals and, correlating it to alligators. Like when you say that those are 25-year-old animals, it just, you can't fathom what those animals have seen in their lifetime.
Correct. That's what it trips me out. Also, that's that old like an alligator. I mean, that's only 10 foot long. We catch 11, 12 footers, and this is just like people realize they don't grow. They don't keep growing just growing. He might get 10 foot long and just get wider. He might stop at 10 foot, and he could be 25 years old at 10 foot, but he could be 40, 50 years old and only 10 and a half foot. So, I mean, it's crazy to know how old these alligators are.
They kind of do tap out on length. They don't just continue to grow through their whole age.
Correct. See, now, an alligator is a normal length of an alligator is between 14 foot by your max. But don't get me wrong. There's a lot of big alligators out there. Louisiana's record right now that's holding is 14 feet 2 inches. The biggest recorded caught the same area was 19 feet 2 inches. That was back in the 1900s.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was the last dinosaur,
Oh, well, that's what's so cool about alligators. They say they're like one of the most prehistoric animals that really haven't changed that much over all these millions of years. How the heck do you age an alligator, by the way?
Aging alligators, believe it or not, it's one of the hardest things. It goes back, rows of teeth, basically back to the teeth again, and it's very, very hard to age an alligator. I don't even play with the aging alligators, but I'll give an estimate on length-wise, because I'm going to tell you, an alligator matures at 6 foot. 6.5 feet, an alligator will mature. So from there, she slows down growing-wise. A female alligator maxes out. She taps out on the scale probably 8 or 9 foot. She don't really get big in the neck.
Really?
Where the male's gonna get, he's gonna keep growing faster, but she slows down a lot faster than the male because she matures a lot faster. At 5 foot, 4.5, 5 foot, she didn't lay the eggs already. She's been bred. She done everything, So 4.5, 5 foot, 6 foot, she's mature. She's already having a nest of her own. I mean, she's ready to rock and roll, So she's a woman. Where the male, he's still running around getting chased by these big bulls. Big bull alligators are chasing him around. He ain't doing much, So wait till he gets his 8, 9 foot, and get his inches, get his size, then he can start breeding females, So it takes time, and that's the difference between males. And what people don't realize, for the first year, they'll grow 6, 8 inches for the first couple of years, and then as they mature, they slow down on growing. So it's kind of hard to determine exactly how old they are because they don't keep growing the same length every year. Sure. So it can change up, So, I mean, just like humans, though, some people get 6 foot tall, some people get 4 foot tall. I mean, it all depends on your genetics.
Yeah, and that's as far as I'm aware, they're very territorial and they have their core area, kind of just like a mature whitetail does. Their place they call home, and then they defend that, I'm assuming, for breeding purposes.
In a way, they get very territorial in a way when it comes down to breeding season. During the breeding season, they'll fight a lot. And during for like hunting wise, home range, they have like somewhat of a home range. just where they feel safe, and basically like almost like whitetails. They'll find a good hidden area, a good thicket, and they stay in. Big bull alligators, the big males, they know their domain. You know, they know where they're pretty safe at. They've been living for a long time, so they kind of. But don't get me wrong, it ain't nothing for them to travel to a new area. You know, it ain't nothing for them to get up and go. So they do have a home range you kind of stay in, but I would say 100% homestead territorial-wise. The only time is really during breeding season, and that ain't much because I'm going to give you a little insight. One of our tricks, if we pull a big bull alligator out this year, let's say 10 foot or better, out of one on this fishing line, and let's say we catch one of our lines and we catch a big bull alligator. Next year, I'm putting a line in the exact same spot because another bull alligator, big bull alligator, is going to move in.
Yep.
Because you need another male alligator, bull alligator, same size or better, to hold that ground, to take care of them females in that area. So whatever male alligator has been fighting with him before knows that he's going, they moving in. You know, they moving in and taking all his women.
And whitetails are the same. I mean, it's the same. It's crazy how a lot of these same patterns there's parallel each other. What if you had to guess? What's the biggest gator you guys have you guys ever caught?
The biggest alligator me and my dad caught it when I was probably 6 years old. It was 13 feet 8 inches, and it was a big one, man. Big 13 feet 8 inches, and I had one this year while fishing in actually my backyard. I never seen him before. I heard of it being there, but he actually broke the whole tree branch, broke the line, and I never found him.
Wow.
So I don't know. And I was told he was. I mean, some guys that really don't know how to fish, but they said he was 16 foot long. His head, he said at least 16, but when they say 16, you can back it down. But after what he did to the destruction he did and the size tree branch he broke, and it's a 316 nylon braided rope, he actually popped, and so I have to say he was probably the biggest alligator I had on my lawn yet. And I ended up lost him. So he didn't die, though, because nobody heard of him floating. I searched for him for over 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
He didn't die. So I searched for 2 weeks, and they'll actually go up, and you'll find them floating a day or so next if they died, you know. And he didn't die because he didn't come up floating, and nobody reported a big alligator. I had buddies in the area. I said, hey, look, you see an alligator floating, you let me know. I said, because I lost one. And nobody ever seen him, nobody nothing. And 2 days later, actually, a guy told me, he said, hey, Jay, he said, that big alligator's still here. I said, how you know? He said he had a 6 foot alligator, 6 or 7 foot alligator in his mouth that he killed, and a bass boat was coming, and he took the alligator under the water with him and never popped back up. I said, you got to be kidding me. He said, I'm telling you. I said, so then that night, I actually went out and I searched for him. I searched, and I ended up finding the dead alligator. It was a 6.5 foot alligator with a big mouth bite, like a big, you see the whole mouth imprint on the belly of the alligator. The teeth marks on it was bigger than my thumbs. The holes he had, and he had tucked it inside of some cut grass, some saw blade grass. He had tucked the alligator's carcass was tucked in the grass, like he was gonna come back and eat it, you know. So he was still there. So I searched for him. I searched a couple of weeks for him until the season ended, and I never found him. So hopefully this year, it's like a big buck I'm after. But if I do catch this one, it should be a good one.
Oh, God, dude, I hope you get them. But are they kind of, I mean, do they learn from, he ate that bait and he had the hook in his mouth, whether it hurt or not, you don't know. But Is that something he's going to be a little bit more shy to go into a bait next time, you think?
Yeah, and that's what my dad always did, preach it, and always said it. An alligator had been hooked before, knows a hook. We'll remember a hook.
Yep.
And so we got a new trick. We got a trick that we was taught in one of our Native American techniques. It's called I'm gonna tell you in English. It's called a smart stick. It's a stick we use. We'll actually use it as a hook. An alligator don't chew his food. An alligator just swallows his food. So we put the stick in whatever we're using, like a chicken quarter or something. We like to use like a big neutral rat. We use the meat off of that. We will stick the stick in it where when the alligator swallows his food, the stick is tied in the middle. So when the alligator takes off, the stick turns sideways and it gets lodged in his stomach. It don't come out. so it never comes it's sideways. So the alligator's like it can't get it out. You know, it don't throw it up. So the alligator is stuck. It gets stuck in his throat or gets stuck in his stomach where it don't come out. But when it swallowed it, it went down straight. But when it goes to take off, it turns sideways and catches him. And so he will grab that bait and feel. He'll grab the bait and play with it a little bit, and he don't feel nothing sharp or nothing pointy on it. He'll swallow it. Or he don't see nothing shiny like a hook. He will eat it because he will get under the bait and he'll watch. He will check. He will sit there 15, 20 minutes, an hour, not even touch the bait. Just sit underneath the bait and examine this bait. I've seen it happen. And but that smart stick, that's what we call it, a smart stick.
Okay.
And I'll watch these big bulls that have been caught before. And one of the episodes, I don't know if they've seen it. They showed it last year. I don't know if you have seen it, but we had one that kept playing with our bait 2 days in a row. It kept taking our bait, taking it to the grass, and just take the bait off. Leave the hook. Wouldn't even swallow the hook. Just take the bait off. And on the second day, Dad said, you know what? I got something for him. Grabbed a stick, made a smart stick, put it in. The next day we got back, we got over there, and we had the alligator caught. It was a 7-foot alligator. It wasn't a big alligator, but still, he was smart. He was smart. It was a 7-foot alligator, and we showed it on TV. We cut the back of the alligator out, cut the back out open, got to the stomach. My dad pulls the smart stick out and let it string through the mouth still to show that there was no BS, was nothing. No, you know what I'm saying? Wasn't no kind of hocus pocus film trick. Dad cut the line on the tree and pulled the smart stick out his belly to show that it was in there. That's what we called the alligator. And it was good. You know, a lot of people made some more believers because we used it the year before, and people had, you know, like we said earlier, people were talking bad about negative, a lot of negative. Oh, that don't work, blah blah blah, all kind of stuff. So, you know, my dad, I'm gonna show them it worked.
Oh, hey man, sometimes the simplest things are the most effective things.
But no, man, like earlier you was talking about like the negative you had about your show and all of that. Look, you know, my dad and all, we get a lot of hate mail, a lot of negativity towards us because, like Todd said earlier, people judge people off of TV,
right?
Of how they portray,
right?
You know, and they don't realize me and my dad on Swamp People. A lot of people don't see it, but we see it. We get portrayed as the bad guys.
Right.
Like we got to take the fall for a lot of stuff. There's any TV show you see from reality shows, there's a good guy, a bad guy, and an average Joe. The average guy. Every show has to have it. I didn't ever realize it until I got it done to myself, you know. And now I watch TV. TV's ruined for me. Because when I watch guys on TV, these reality shows, and I'm like, man, I see straight through it. I'm like, that's not them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I know that's really not them. And I thank God I met a bunch of people before. And some people, like, you'll see, you judge them, like they say, judge the book by the cover. You judge them on TV like, oh, my God, this guy is an awesome guy, or this guy is very arrogant, or this and that. And when you get to meet him, it's 90% of the time, it's totally opposite. Right. It's totally opposite. I'm like, it's crazy, man. And so, yeah, me and my dad, I'll tell you what, we know how it is, man. I got hate mail already because I had a scope cover on my site missing. And I got hate mail because of one of my site scope covers where you sent it at was off my gun. And I got guys dogging me because I was supposed to be high class gator hunter, and I got to miss the scope thing. Man, I'm just an alligator hunter. I ain't worried about my scope. As long as it gets where it needs to be at, I'm good.
Exactly. If it steps out in front of you, you're going to kill it. That's the bottom line.
That's exactly, man. Get the job done.
We're just about out of time. What website could our listeners go to check out your new show?
Well, right now we actually we got a few YouTube channels out right now. The Living Life YouTube channel. We got Living Life Facebook, Living Life Instagram. It's all right now. It's a new show. We in the works on a lot of stuff. We're gonna be on Vimeo, Roku, Netflix. We work on a few different little things right now. We're gonna be on Android TV, Apple TV. So right now, man, we just getting started good, and we're ready for the fans to enjoy it because we know there's so much they missing out on that we're trying to give to them.
For you, I have one question that I have to get answered because I earned a whole new respect for you when you jumped in the freaking water after that giant. I was like, what the heck is he doing? When you're shooting an alligator with a rifle and his head's just above the water, I mean, dude, you've got to be aiming at just a tiny, tiny target.
Right. I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna tell you the target right there. A lot of guys don't understand this. Even a lot of alligator fishermen themselves don't know this. I'm shooting them for the ear. I'm going for the ear. You got a little alligator has a little ear flap. His brain is underneath that. When you hit that ear spot, he's gonna hold his breath and give you enough time to get to him before he sinks.
Okay. Unbelievable. Now, did you basically just ricochet that shot in that one gator that I'm talking about, the one you went diving in after? Did you just basically ricochet it off its skull?
I'm gonna tell you what happened. I was shooting a 17 Hornet. So I'm only shooting with it wasn't a big rifle at all. It was a little 17 Hornet. This alligator's probably about 100, 150 yards out. I mean, let me back up a little bit. This episode, which y'all seen, it was 2 or 3 minute clip. It was actually a 45 minutes to an hour long fight we had. So anyway, I shoot this alligator 100, 150 yards out. It was so flat of a shot. This alligator was about to go under the water, so I just had a little spot to shoot. And when I shot, all it did was cut like a ditch. It cut just a big ditch in his head, and it didn't dig in. So I didn't even know that. I thought I hit him perfect. I thought I hit him good. The only thing it did was it hit nothing vital. We had like almost like a side of the road drainage ditch running through his top of his head. That was it. And what it did, it just knocked him crazy. And we fought with him 45 minutes at the least. We had bass fishermen stop and watch the whole thing go down. We had guys freaking out. I mean, they had what it was though. We had left our other hook back in our other boat, and we was fishing in our big white Carolina. And we had one hook I had made. They didn't show that part either. That cane pole I had, my dad took four our gator hooks, tied it at the end of that pole just to make us a hook, because we didn't have a hook in the boat. So he had been made us he MacGyvered a hook real fast just to have it, and the hook would not hold. Every time the alligator would get touched by it, he would start rolling and flipping, and he was breaking his pole up. After about 45 minutes, I came in. I'd run to the front of the boat, I'd run to the back, drive the boat, trying to find the alligator. This alligator kept going slower and slower, to the point where every 5-10 minutes it would show itself. It would come up and go back down into the water, and we wouldn't see a thing. And we'd feel with the pole, and finally the alligator show itself. He would be like 10 yards from us, or 15 yards from us, and we'd pull back up in the boat and try again. This lasted for a while. I got fed up, and I said, no way, this alligator is going to die, and we're going to lose him. And our belief, where I was raised, man, you draw blood on an animal, you take care of the business. You do what you got to do to take care of you. Find this animal. You don't let this animal waste or suffer. So in the mindset, I'm like, I got to get this alligator. He's gonna go to the bottom and he's gonna sink and die. I'm not gonna find this alligator. When I do find him, he's gonna be rotten. He ain't gonna be good. And so, as it's all going down, my dad's trying to catch him with the pole and all. I start taking my boots off. I start taking my clothes and all my cell phone in my pocket. I started looking around, and when it got to the point where the alligator came up one more time, when it came up, I see he was weak. So that's why I jumped in. I was like, hey, you know what? It's only about 4 foot of water. I got good ground, a good bottom to hold on to. I can catch him. You know. And so when I did that, he actually come up. He hit my leg under the water, and you couldn't see, but you see my face. I felt him rub my leg. But when he hit my leg, that's why I went under the water and grabbed. When he came up, at the same time I grabbed him. Long story short, I know you got to go. He actually drove to the boat, had him all thing. He's had his paw inside my T-shirt. So when his paw is in my T-shirt, I'm like thinking to myself, all right, this alligator starts rolling. He starts doing the death roll. He's gonna tear me up.
Right.
He's gonna throw me around. He's gonna bring me under the water. And he's gonna drown me. You know, so I heard it just ripped my shirt off. I broke the mic, our camera mic. I broke it. I popped that whole mic off. I didn't even care. You know, I just broke the mic off, threw my shirt off, grabbed the alligator, and I had his mouth. And now this is a 12'2" alligator. I had his mouth closed, and I'm looking down, and I'm telling my dad, see, they cut this part out too. I tell my dad, he's back alive. He got life. Dad's like, I got him. And when I said that, he opens my hands up. This alligator opens my hands up and bites the bottom of our boat. And I told my dad, I looked at him, I said, get this alligator. I said, he got the boat. His dad's like, my dad didn't understand. My dad was losing it. You know, he was like in the moment. He was all pumped up. I'm like, get this out. He's like, oh, I got the alligator. I'm like, get the alligator. When I did that, when I went to move my hands, the alligator let go of the boat and try to grab me. And that's when I pushed off, and like a little cat didn't have nothing on me. I was faster than the cat right there. I got the water so fast, but thank God my dad had a little rope on his right leg so he couldn't swing around and grab me. But if the alligator grabbed me, I was done. He would have torn me to pieces right there on the spot. You know, so my fault. What happened was, though, I thought I hit him better than what he was. But the only thing I did was knock him stupid. And after the 45 minutes of fighting, he was getting his conscience back. He was getting his power back. You know, so that's what happened there. Thank God I didn't get caught.
Wow.
The shot they got on camera of that thing breaching the water with you holding on to it got to be one of the coolest and scariest things I've ever freaking seen in my life. Yeah. And I think everybody was thinking the same time, but you're nuts. But at the same time, dude, it was like you could tell you just had instinct. You went right. You just did what you had to do, no matter what. And that just at the time, you probably didn't think twice about it. And now, after the fact, did your dad yell at you?
Yeah. No, my dad was pumped up. My dad was all good. My mom yelled at me. So you see, I can't really say much about what goes on during the season. So I get home and I say, "Hey, Mom," I got in the water with a big alligator today. She said, "Yeah, okay." I said, "I did know." I said, "I shot an alligator and I have to get in the water to get it." So, all right. She said, "How big was it?" So, that one right here, I showed her the catch. I said, "At 12 foot." It was 12 foot. She said, "Hey, you got in the water down?" I said, "Yeah." She was cool about it, you know. She didn't really understand what I was telling her. And when she watched it on TV, she thought about coming glued. Boy, I got a butt chewing and a half. Boy, she was all hostile. I said, Mom, chill out. I said, I made it. I'm okay. I'm here. Please, you know. She was acting like I just did it. I'm like, look, I'm survived. Chill out. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Jason, did you see that footage?
Yeah, I did. That's
oh my God.
That's an awesome story.
It just so happened, I think we just got back from the ATA show. So I was like, oh, dude, I want to watch Swamp People. And I think it was on that next episode. My wife and I were watching it, and we're just like, dude, he is freaking crazy. Like, I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it, man. It was awesome.
I got in the water this year, man. I got in the water this year 2-3 times with me and Tommy for shooting some gators. But I knew for sure they was all the way dead. That's why I don't hesitate to get in the water with them. What happens, you know, our water's murky, very, very murky. And an alligator, even though he's completely dead, an alligator is the most solid muscle. So his nerves, just one swipe of that tail, it can move him 50, 60 yards down a canal. So even if you shoot him and he sinks, he's not going to sit right there. He starts flipping and spinning, he's going. So you got to be quick, and a lot of times you can't feel them. And I mean, don't get me wrong, we throw a treble hook, we do a lot of things and finally find them, but a lot of times, man, it's hard to find. And that's why if I'm not 100% confident on the shot, I won't take it. Because I don't want to lose an alligator or have to get in the water with one.
Well, there you have it, our conversation with Jay Paul Molinere from Swamp People. As always, thanks for listening to the White Knuckle Podcast. We've got a lot of stuff going on recently at White Knuckle. We've got a brand new website. If you haven't checked it out, go to www.whiteknuckleproductions.com. Check out all the different pages that we've got. We've got some blogs there for you to read. Of course, we've got our web show and our podcast. We want to take a second here to thank the folks that make it possible. We would like to thank Ozonics, undetectable, undeniable. Lone Wolf, your silent partner. Spartan Camera, you don't have to be there. Coons Engineering, Wicked Tree Gear. Vortex Optics, the Force in Optics. Land Pros, and Stick and Pick. Well, that about wraps things up for today's show. We'd like to thank again everyone for listening. For iPod, iPad, or iWhatever listeners, grab your phone or device and go to the iTunes store and search for the White Knuckle Podcast if you haven't already. That'll help you download the free podcast app that's produced by Apple. Subscribe to the show from that app. Every time that I produce a new episode, you'll get it downloaded right to your device. For Android listeners, do the same thing, except download the Stitcher app for free. Then search for the White Knuckle Podcast, and every time we produce a show, it'll show up there. For those of you who don't have a mobile device, you can always watch for us on any of our social media channels. We will always be posting it there. With that, we sincerely hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to give us a review on iTunes or Stitcher. That's the way that we get better at what it is that we do. That's about all we've got. Have a great rest of your week.